Now I'm going to demonstrate how to make a pizza using yeast. The recipe, I'll flash it up and then I'll flash it up again later. This is the recipe, okay? And I will type it up. The recipe includes 2 tablespoons of sugar because yeast has to have something, it's a plant, and it's in a dormancy situation when you add it. So it needs something to eat for it to grow. And when it grows, then the food rises. So it needs something to grow on, and it needs something to activate it because it is laying in a sleeping process right now. Before I start cooking though, I've washed my hands about 3 times, but this is also a sanitizing cloth. This time we know with the coronavirus, I've sprayed all my countertops with antibacterial, let it sit for several minutes, wiped it down. Restaurants now are going to have to take a lot of special types of laws so that they can bring people back in. But this, I'm washing my hands and wash them well to get rid of any bacteria that you may have. So I'm doing that now. Okay, so then my recipe says I need to first start the yeast part. So I need 2 tablespoons of sugar, which I have already pre-measured out. Mise en place, remember, everything in its place and ready to go. And then this is a packet of active dry yeast. So it's dry. It looks just like a seed actually right in there. It's powdery. And I'm going to put it in the warm water. I had to get my water to between 105 and 110 degrees so that will wake up the yeast using a thermometer or putting it in the microwave for maybe 30 seconds. But you don't want it too hot because it will kill the yeast. You don't want it too cold because it won't activate it. So this is called proofing it. This is activating the yeast. I'm going to set it aside. It's kind of getting frothy looking, so that's a good thing. Okay, so it's frothy and it's starting to activate. While that's doing its thing over here, I'm going to measure up all the other dry ingredients. The other dry ingredients are 2 cups of flour. So I've measured 1 so far, and then I'm using whole wheat flour, which is Mr. Ben has whole wheat flour. So this is his whole wheat flour. You could use all-purpose flour. You could use bread flour if you even want. So whatever you've got at home, multi-grain is always better. You could even throw some flaxseed in there for fiber, and that would be a good thing. So I've got my 2 cups of flour. I need 1 tablespoon, capital T, of salt. Okay, that allows the yeast not to leaven. And stir that in. So we've got my dry ingredients here, flour. I don't need to make a little burrow like I did with quick breads because this is going to need to be kneaded, K-N-E-A-D. Okay. I'm also going to put a little bit of garlic salt in mine, a little garlicky taste to my pizza crust, and a tablespoon of olive oil. Again, this is kind of Italian. A tablespoon of olive oil. You could use vegetable oil. You could use butter, melted butter. Okay? All right. So I've got that. Those 3 things, 2 cups of flour, 1 tablespoon olive oil, 1 tablespoon salt. Stir that up. Okay, now my yeast has been activated. It's frothy looking. So I'm going to pour it in with my dry ingredients. Making sure I get all the yeast in here. And I'm just going to mix it up. It's going to be gooey. It's not near as runny as what your quick breads were for your pancakes, your banana breads, your muffins. A lot of you had some really nice looking quick breads. Make sure that you are getting your assignments all into me on time. The food truck, you have a week, but I wanted to let you know so that you could start thinking about what is a food you like, whether it's an ice cream, shakes, smoothies, wings, pizza, Italian food, if it's something kind of new and unique, if it's Hispanic, Mexican food, you know, what do you like? Is it Marshallese foods, which I'd love to see what some of those would be, something native to your family, whether it's a German brats or whatever your family's heritage is. That's kind of fun to have it that way too. So I've got everything mixed up. Okay, it's pretty dry. Now I'm going to move over to a floured surface, lightly floured surface. And I'm going to knead, K-N-E-A-D, this dough. What that does is it takes all of the leavening agent of the yeast and it connects all the two into a straight line, and that way the air gets trapped underneath it. Okay, so I fold it, turn it. Okay, I'm just folding it, pressing it, turning it, folding it, pressing it, turning it, folding it, pressing it, turning it. I might add a little bit more olive oil to this, okay, which I can still do if my husband has any olive oil left. I got just a very little bit left. And once this is kneaded for 3-4 minutes, then you're going to put it in the bowl and put a little oil in it so it doesn't stick. And you're going to let it in the bowl for about an hour to hour and a half until it has doubled its size. This is a nice thing to do on a weekend. And again, all that it called for is 2 tablespoons of sugar so that the yeast has something to eat. 3/4 cup of warm water that needs to be about 105 degrees. Needs to be warm. And that packet of yeast. Okay, then let that sit and proof a little bit. Then add 2 cups of flour, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of salt. Mix it together, knead it. Okay, and it looks like this. Okay, a little bit of dough. All right, so now fast forward. Remember when we did our demonstrations? You have something ready to go. Okay, so I have already done this about an hour and a half ago. I made another batch of pizza dough. So I'm taking this out. It's had oil on it. And I'm putting this one in. Okay, I'm going to cover it with a towel, stick it in a warm place for an hour and a half. And then, when that hour and a half has come, you're going to pull it out. Okay, it's a little bit more pliable. And I'm going to stick it on a pizza pan. Now, the first thing you need to do with yeast spreads, after it has come out, it sometimes will have a couple wacky air pockets that maybe it formed, so you punch it down. Just punch it 2 times, 3 times, okay? Punch it out to get rid of any kind of wacky air pocket that might be in there. Take it on my pan, take it on my pan. I could roll it out if I wanted to, or stick it in the middle, and then in the middle, I'm going to just start pressing it out so that it forms a circle. You could use a pizza pan. You could use a cookie sheet if that's what you've got. And I'm just going to press it out to the outsides. It forms the size that I want it to be. Okay, this recipe makes enough for 1. So if you have a large family and you need a couple pizzas, you would want to make this twice. Pretty good. Now, some of the pizza chefs suggest, and maybe some of you work at pizza places, that you take and you just put a couple little punctures every so often. So you may do that. That, I think, it's supposed to keep it from having bubbling up. This would be similar process that we would have done if we did our pastries and pie shells, but it doesn't call for yeast. Okay, so pie crust. We were going to make a pie crust, have a pie contest. Bummed, so bummed. We usually do that at Teacher Appreciation Week, which is coming up first week of May. Teachers love it. So hopefully you're saying hey to your teachers. We sure would appreciate it. We're getting kind of lonely without seeing you. Okay, so I have lots of little dots in it. And it's like wanting to kind of come back and compress a little bit. So you could pull it out a little bit, okay, if you want. Then you just go ahead. Some people will keep this and they'll let it rise one more time. Sometimes they say pizza crust should maybe rise 2 times. So it's up to you. If you don't have time to eat it right now and you want to save it for later on, because like right now it is 10 o'clock. So I'm not ready for pizza yet. So I'm going to cover this and put it in my refrigerator so it does a real slow rise. You could freeze it. You could also, when I just did the dough, after it has risen an hour and a half, you could then bag it up, put it in a tied Ziploc or whatever, and put it in the freezer. And you could put it in the freezer, and then the night before you want to have pizza, you get it out, put it in the refrigerator, and you could have pizza, okay? So think about it. When you buy a frozen pizza crust, what do? They are basically taking this, okay? And then they're making their pizza. So then all you would need to do is add whatever you want. Do your pizza sauce, your mushrooms, pepperoni, your cheese, your Parmesan, your hamburger sausage, peppers, onions, whatever you like. So that's how you make homemade pizza crust. Good luck, and also don't forget your food truck. Hopefully you're going to be working on your food truck, and I look forward to seeing the picture of your food truck design with your food that you made in front of it and a recipe. Okay? And if you make the pizza, please send me a picture. Have a great day. Bye-bye.